And I think their two backs are supposed to be like
Eckler and the Northwestern back, Justin Jackson. So it's like, well, they're kind of light on receiver. I mean, they got a lot of young talent, but Inman is a proven vet, and he knows what to do. So if you have him and you throw in Benjamin, who's inconsistent, that's about 50 catches between the two of them.
Which, by the way, Jeffrey Tillery's been balling. So I just wanted to shout that out.
Jerry Tillery?
Yep.
So's Drew Chankel.
Some dude I was high on that you weren't.
A very dirty player out of Notre Dame. A very dirty player. History of being a dirty player at Notre Dame, like throughout his whole college career. Stepping on cats' groins, all just dirty player.
I mean, he went to Notre Dame.
But he is a hell of a player, but he's a dirty one.
All right, next up, man, Ezekiel Elliott finally gets an offer from the Cowboys.
Plot twist. Jerry Jones was like, I've earned the right to joke with Ezekiel Elliott. And I would say he has.
So he got a offer that would make him the second highest paid running back, more than Le'Veon Bell, but less than Todd Gurley.
I'm top three, and I'm not 2 or 3.
Is that a touchdown or a turnover for Zeke?
As I've been saying, I'm top 3, and I'm not 2 or 3. Anything less than what makes him the top running back in the league is unacceptable. Anything that makes him the top 3 is unacceptable. He either has to be 2 or 1.
Which he is too. So is it a touchdown or is it a turnover?
It depends. It depends. If the money's off by like $2 million.
If you're Zeke, do you see that offer as a touchdown
I'm Zeke,
or as a turnover?
I'm better than Todd Gurley.
100%. Not only are you better than Todd Gurley, you're more durable. You're honestly more needed in that offense than Gurley is in that.
And I was drafted higher, and I've proven my worth. Even though you've had headaches. And technically, he was innocent. And he was technically innocent in a lot of the cases where they accused him of stuff. Zeke deserves to be paid.
But yeah, I'm going to say it's a turnover too for Zeke because he does deserve to be the highest paid back. Like, Le'Veon hasn't played in, 500 days? And
a year.
Gurley, we don't know if he's going to make it to week 12. So,
can we be honest, though? Somebody brought up a good point. When was the last time you saw Le'Veon Bell on the field and not be great?
No, I don't disagree.
He was a great player. He was a playmaker.
I don't disagree. I'm not saying he's going to be sorry. I'm just saying we haven't seen.
He helps your quarterback.
What I'm saying is whatever he was able to grab after not playing for 500 years, Zeke should be able to get that bottom. So him being the second
to be a running back, but Christian McCaffrey, like I said a couple weeks ago, was going to reset the whole market. A, because he's white, and B, he's an elite running back who can get you 1,000 yards and 100 catches as a receiver.
But he's also small and probably going to break down.
Doesn't matter. He's going to reset the whole market.
Down at Stanford. So.
Nah, he get worn down at Stanford.
Bro, he had the most touches 2 years in a row.
Bryce Love ended up breaking his record, I think, for rushing.
I'm saying touches.
Bryce Love, I'm pretty sure, broke his record.
Either way,
in the season, but bottom line,
either way, that really doesn't
Bryce
matter.
Love, he went back to Stanford.
Doesn't matter.
It does. Well, with McCaffrey, he is the linchpin in that offense, and he's going to be the face of the franchise once they push Cam Newton out the door.
What I'm saying is, and what we're saying essentially is the same thing. 2 is the floor for Zeke, considering the context of where Gurley and Bell is, where he's positioned in between them.
He might just be stuck in between them.
And especially because, as you're saying, with McCaffrey coming up, who's probably going to be the top paid back, you definitely want to get that top spot because when McCaffrey gets that next nod, you're going to be number 2.
Mega deal.
You're already going to be number 2. And then when Saquon comes along, he's going to make you number 3. So you gotta be number 1 right now. This is your time. You might only be number 1 for this season or even just
They're
a few
going to be number
weeks.
1 for the next 2.5 years.
Even just for a few weeks.
For the next 2.5 years, Zeke can say he's the number 1 back in the league. And he won't be able to say it. He'll be a close third.
All right. Other than that, the holdout for Melvin Gordon continues. He says he's willing to miss games. Is that a touchdown or is that a turnover for Melvin Gordon?
honestly, with his injury record, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm
Think
gonna say
about
it's a
it.
touchdown too.
He doesn't play. He gets traded. He's just immediately successful somewhere else.
I would just worry about.
Alvin Kamara's coming up too.
I would just worry about his weight. As long as his weight is down and he's keeping his speed up, I mean, that's all you really have to worry about.
A 4.52 speed that he does have.
Exactly.
He holding on to that 4.52 speed for dear life.
He doesn't have very much room for error. So, running on that treadmill and a helmet is not impressive, bro. Get out on the track.
I honestly
put some spikes on, bro. And you might actually hit that 1,000-yard marker more than once.
If I think of a couple different places he can get traded to,
work out those hamstrings and maybe you'll play more than 12 games.
Damn. Keep going. Might as well keep on.
I don't know what else.
Ray Mixon is definitely next too if he keeps playing the way he's playing for the Bengals. But they're smart. They'll give him an extension before his contract's up.
All right. Last one.
Baker Mayfield. Please be Baker Mayfield.
You can do Baker Mayfield because I don't know how you're going to make that a touchdown or a turnover. You just put Baker Mayfield on the rundown.
Okay, cool.
You don't even know how to make it a touchdown or a turnover.
I do because I only need one take.
Okay, go.
Okay, so Baker Mayfield in his GQ interview, it came out. And he said pretty much his apology about the whole storm planning thing at Ohio State. Apology was like a 0 out of 10. And then he made some controversial statements about Daniel Jones, saying that they were shocked that he took him. And like you would think that teams would consider winning as part of like after pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like Baker Mayfield keeps opening his mouth and saying shit. And if this was Odell saying this about receivers, we would kill him for it. But because it's Baker, we don't kill him for it. And I just want to know, is it a touchdown or a turnover, Baker Mayfield being honest and running his mouth the way he is as of late?
I think right now, with where the Browns are, this very moment in time.
I killed that explanation just now.
Coming off a 500 season where they showed a lot of spark, thanks to him, it's a touchdown. But in this next year, when the leagues are able to adjust to him, and now he has even more receiving talent, if he's not able to put together a All-Pro year and or get the Browns into the playoffs, it's a turnover. Because guess what? You being the loud, confident quarterback only lasts as long as you're winning. Anything else you want to say?
Jimmy Garoppolo looked like shit.
All right. Next up, man, take or tangent. Real quick. I don't know where the drop is. Here we go.
Oh, I forgot about Derwin James.
Shout out to Derwin James, who's actually out. But yeah,
IR for like 3 months because of a foot stress fracture. Seeing as how I had a foot stress fracture, a Liz Frank injury, a broken foot, a fractured ankle, torn ligaments. Yeah, I had all that shit. Honestly, I don't know how I walked my senior year. My foot was.
I still don't know how you walk.
God's grace. And fuck you.
But yeah, so first of all, Lamar Jackson said he fumbled the ball. I think they said 8 or 12 times last year. So that's been his point of emphasis this offseason. They said he's been working on it, and he looks good. He hasn't been fumbling the ball in practice or in preseason action. So you got to take her a tangent on Lamar Jackson's fumbling issues.
He said it won't be an issue anymore, and I saw he looks stronger. Probably even looks a little bit faster, just because like his processing of the game, and I think that offense is gonna grow as he grows. I don't think it'll be a problem, but I really hope they don't run him into the ground a bunch of times.
My take on that is a couple of things. First of all, it's easy to say you don't have fumbling issues when you're in practice because, let's be real, people stop short on the quarterback as they're supposed to. The next thing I want to say is I really hope he's fixed the fumbling issues, and I really hope that helps him kind of take away that extra filter we kind of saw from him last year, which kind of like stopped him from running in situations where he could have gained some more yards. I get it. You know, he won a Heisman Trophy for his ability to throw the football.
Should have won a Heisman Trophy his second year.
And he wants to remind people that he's a quarterback. I get it. But, you know, like I said, sometimes you have to lean into what makes you different, bro. You can do both. You should do both. And as soon as he learns how to balance that, that's like you wanting to develop that pocket presence and throwing the rock around because you don't want to be Vince Young or Michael Vick. That doesn't not make you them. What makes you them is if you're able to do both at a very high level and you win games. That's how you stop.
And unpredictable.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. The last one I wanted to bring up. So
I got one too after yours.
So in Mike Freeman's columns this past week, one of the points he brought up was that essentially headcoachranking.com looked at the coaching rosters from teams, and it ranked some of the upcoming assistants. And this is an issue because we've talked about it a number of times. You know, how coaches break through is through assistants. You know, you move your way up. You know, getting that offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator position is how you get the head coaching job. So this sort of list, it doesn't matter, but it does matter because it gives these assistants a profile and puts them on the radars of NFL and college teams. So basically what the list had were, you know, a couple of Carrolls, a Zimmer, a Kubiak, a Patterson, and a bunch of people related to head coaches, you know, brothers, uncles, sons, etc. And so Freeman was just pointing out the meritocracy in this list and about how it's making it even more difficult for coaches of color to break through. So do you got to take her a tangent on that, KB?
Water is wet. Nepotism happens everywhere, but what hurts the most is nepotism when you throw in the fact that, like, when white people do it in fields that are bigger than them or they're not even the best at it and nobody else gets a chance. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a lot of nepotism in journalism. We've all seen it. Pete and I we've seen it. We can speak on it. Give you horror stories. I know people who have way worse stories than mine, and mine was pretty fucked up. Like, it's... Sorry, Mom, for cussing. I know you're probably listening, too. Sorry. This is just the week we had. When I think about all that nepotism in the coaching ranks, and I think about where that starts, how it's bred, it really is kind of a... I look at it like it's a tapeworm, like from the inside of somebody, like it's a parasite. You're hungry, you're eating. You think you're hungry, you think you're eating. You think you're doing things to take care of yourself, or you think you're doing the right thing, or really you're feeding something else inside you. That is hurtful, and I look at it where there are people who probably just off merit and just off skill alone have to work way harder to get to where they're at, to get to the same spot. They got to work way harder. Because there was a piece in the Undefeated about uplifting like black ADs at HBCUs and things like that. It was a pretty good story. And like, I see like, okay, instead of getting your relative here, you should just pick the best person. Well, if you broke that down along the lines of, if it was you and you could give someone in your family a leg up, would you do it?
Yeah.
At the risk of whatever you're doing, your program, your business, would you do it?
I mean, it depends on what it is, but...
Because when I look at... and I have to break this down along racial lines, because when you look at the NFL... most of the players are black, but most of the positions of power are all white people.
Well, if here's my whole thing on this.